Well, it gives me a great deal of pleasure and joy to greet the 8th Episcopal District 2021 Women's Empowerment Conference. To Senior Bishop Lawrence Reddick and First Lady Wendy Reddick, to the conference coordinator, Dr. Kai Horn, our 8th District Commission representative, Presiding Elder Diana Castile, and to all the attendees and women in ministry, I am absolutely delighted to share a few words on the third focus of your theme, authority. The conference itself is an example of women walking in authority as ministers of the gospel and not giving up in the hard times. And as women in ministry, we can attest that there have been a few hard times every now and then. It will be 24 years next year that God planted in my heart to present a resolution to the 1998 General Conference calling for a separate identity for women in ministry, who at the time served as a department in the wheel of the Women's Missionary Society, having no real identity, authority, or equity as ordained clergy women. Well, when it's a God thing, it's an established thing. The General Conference overwhelmingly passed the resolution, and thus the Commission on the Concerns of Women in the Ministry was established. But that doesn't mean that the privileges and authority you enjoy today as women in the ministry was easily obtained. It took women walking in their authority, in their God-given authority, while working with and sometimes respectfully challenging man-given authority to become who we are today as an organized body. And we must never forget those whose shoulders we stand on, who brought us here. Reverend Virgie Gant, the first woman ordained an elder in the CME Church in the 1960s. Reverend Versie Easter, the first woman appointed a presiding elder in the CME Church. And don't forget the many, many women who were never ordained, nor ever appointed to a church, but they continued to stand in their authority and preach the gospel in our Zion anyway. And of course, the laymen and women who stood with ministry, the women in ministry as we struggle, particularly Dr. Judith Grant, who was missionary president at that time, and will never be able to give enough thanks to the late Bishop Thomas Hort. Dr. Hort, or Bishop Hort, encouraged us to stand in our authority, and he petitioned the College of Bishops many, many times on our behalf. It was that synergy of his encouraging that authority from the women in ministry that led to 5 women choosing to run for bishop in 2010. And we all know that resulted in the election of our first woman bishop, Bishop Teresa Jefferson Snorton. So we give thanks today for those first 5 coordinators as we come close to celebrating the first 24 years of this commission. Reverend Dr. Dolores Ferguson Richardson, the first coordinator. Reverend Dr. Regina Reese Young, the second coordinator. Yours truly, third coordinator. Reverend Dr. Essie Clark George, the fourth coordinator. And of course, the work continues with Reverend Dr. Denise Anders Mattis, who's the present coordinator. When we walk as women in authority, we establish a history that leaves a legacy of blessings for all women. So I close with the thought that we must all